So I just wanted to record a message because I just had the High Court's like fourth or fifth refusal of the claim to give orders to protect the population from monofluroacetate, which is literally one of the world's most deadly chemicals that they're going to spray all over the Hunua ranges. They sprayed it all over Whātua yesterday. And it literally torture poisons animals to death en masse. It's so sadistic. I'm so embarrassed to be a New Zealander. And, you know, I know that in order for the International Criminal Court to advance my claim, they need to see that the New Zealand judiciary are fucking evil, betraying their people, ordering the mass torture of animals, and allowing the mass contamination of our water. And we're lucky that it's raining today, so that they're not poisoning the Hunuas, which they would have done today because the forecast was for sunny weather. And I know that I need to demonstrate the failure of the New Zealand judiciary in order to have the ICC accept the claim, but the fact is that the ICC are not accepting the claim in time to stop all of these chemical attacks around the country. And it's such devastation of our wildlife. It's the death of nature. And all of the waterways are going to travel down into the agriculture system and start killing the livestock and poisoning the livestock, giving them, you know, at minimum, giving them absolute gastric pain, like unbelievable gastric pain and illness over time. If not in higher doses, they'll promote it as bogus bovas. These judges make me so sick and so upset because they have no right to abuse the New Zealand justice system by failing to protect the population. The Hunua Ranges water supply supplies 60% of the Auckland population. That's one of the world's most lethal chemicals going into our drinking water. 60% of Auckland's population is drinking water. Our treacherous councillors order it. Our court allows it. Our police protect it. Our government finance and promote it. It's so evil to have a country run by such evil people because this chemical is so dangerous. Anyway, I just wanted to say that the order is that they are refusing the application again. The Supreme Court have refused the application. They have repeatedly refused the applications to give orders to protect. And so, as soon as the weather clears, the Hunua Ranges will be bombed. Animals will be mass tortured to death, an agonizing death. And, you know, it's killing nature. You can't put that kind of a poison into nature, into water right across the bush and not kill it. It's so terrible what's happening, and so many people across the country are asleep. And I know that people will laugh at me for recording this while I'm crying, but it's just so devastating to see this kind of a crime occurring in real time. If they were putting this chemical in the water, if Assad used this chemical, or Saddam, or anyone in the Middle East used this chemical in their people's water, half of the world would be bombing them and taking them out, you know? But Ardern, the fucking sicko, can mass torture animals. It's such an abuse of power. You know, they have refused it, even though, you know, yesterday one of the things I argued in my application was the Animal Welfare Reform Act. Because even if you weren't poisoning the water of the people, to mass torture poison all the wildlife across an ecosystem is just thoroughly evil. These people are thoroughly evil. And I feel it's the death of democracy when your justice system doesn't rule to protect your health, your life, and your property. But this compounding torture poison that kills all that lives across our ecosystem, over the term of this parliament, and, you know, until 2030, the amount of poison that they intend to use against this country will kill this country. You know, people don't, not everyone understands my explanation of what is happening here in real time, but, you know, you're going to see M. bovis outbreaks. And it's not M. bovis. It's DNA poisoning, you know. M. bovis is Mycoplasma bovis is the same as Mycobacterium bovis, which they inject into animals to give TB, which is the same as TB. which is the same symptoms exactly as 1080 poisoning. You know, they are inflicting the poisoning on the cover story of TB when the poison itself causes TB, and it's also causing M. bovis. It's exactly the same thing. It's divestment of the farming industry. You know, so I just, you know, I will keep making the applications because in order to prove that the New Zealand justice system is just completely fraudulent and deadly, and these judges have no place on the bench, no place, anything to do with justice, because they don't protect, you know, they're supporting criminals who are divesting this country. And it's just such a tragedy to see that the country is just in the grip of such evil fucking leadership, and probably half the population are too unaware, is a nice way to put it, to change it. But anyway, it's such a fucking tragedy, honestly. I feel so upset, and there's no, even just the animal torture alone, there's no worse crime than this. Anyone in that parliament, look at them all, look at the people in the parliament, they look retarded. I mean, I'm sorry to be so petty, but they look as retarded as they're acting. You know, it's so evil and cruel to poison like this, and no one in their right mind would do it. These people are not normal. Anyway, you know, I've been through possibly 8 judges on this case, and across all 4 courts, and they're all a part of this crime. Our justice system is not our justice system anymore. If you understood the power of this chemical, you would never agree for it to be aerial dropped all over our ecosystem. It is absolutely depopulation. You know, and when your justice system fails to protect you and the police are helping administer the crime when it's so fucking sadistic and it's so obviously criminal en masse, if you tortured one animal like that, you would be in prison. And Ardern and her government are mass torturing thousands of animals in this way this weekend, and they'll poison the water. And all across Auckland, you will start to drink this poisoned water, and you'll start to get really, really, really sick and incredible pain. So all I can say is I have to make it really clear, our justice system is so corrupt, you know, and I've started telling them that. Now they write that I'm abusive process because I'm telling them that, and I just write back and say, well, you're an abuse of the justice system, you know, because it is an absolute death of democracy. But anyway, I know that people will laugh because I'm crying, but I'm crying because I'm so ashamed to live in a country who are mass torturing animals for many, many, many hours. They'll scream in agony right across the bush. And humans will experience the same thing over time because they are poisoning directly upstream from our water supply in Auckland later this week as soon as the rain stops. For me, it's just an unfathomable crime, but the sick people who run our country seem to be determined to do it because the only way you can create climate change is by artificially creating it by chemical warfare so that you can divest the country. So sick.